This week in Jamaica Now, terror at sea, how a fisherman lost his arm, then his life in a shark attack off the Sav-la-Mar coast. Forgiven.
I leave all judgment to God.
Taxi operator abducted and left for dead in a 55-foot hole, rescued after 3 days, and is pardoning his attackers. Bail again denied for butcher charged with attempting to kill his ex-lover. New evidence emerges in Beachy Stout murder case. Then, sadness, a school bus driver and a taxi operator killed in a 4-vehicle collision in Clarendon. The latest on the Harrow story, why the ODPEM boss has called it a day at the disaster agency. And EU ambassador denies hoarding COVID vaccines. I'm Damian Mitchell and this is Jamaica Now. Several Westmoreland fishermen have been left traumatized after one of their colleagues died following a shark attack. Donovan Haywood returned to land without an arm. He had earlier engaged in a harrowing battle with a 7-foot shark. Clive Campbell, captain of the 18-foot ill-fated boat, the Cadda, which set out on a spearfishing expedition off Sav-la-Mar coast, said it was like a movie as the shark wrestled to bring Haywood deeper into the sea. Campbell said another fisherman was almost knocked unconscious by the violent swing of the shark's tail. Some of the 10 other fishermen on board tried to rescue Haywood, but the shark would not let up. Eventually, he was shot by one of the fishermen with a spear gun. World Christos, first vice president of the Bluefields Bay Fishermen's Friendly Society, has warned spearfishers to have adequate personnel to transfer shot fish quickly into a canoe. He theorizes that Haywood was swimming with the fish he shot, drawing the shark to the scent of blood. 66-year-old George Smart, the taxi operator who was forced down a 55-foot hole in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, says he has forgiven his abductors. Smart was rescued severely weakened and dehydrated after 3 days in the hole. The cab driver related the terror he experienced when he was held at gunpoint in the Jones Avenue area of Spanish Town last Wednesday night and how he survived the ordeal. He said God wanted him alive to tell his story.
I see them pull a thing off a hole, like a manhole. See them pull a manhole cover across. And then I said I should put my foot in. After I put my foot in, they just let me go and I just keep going down. Keep going down like I'm dropping into a pit. God was with me. It was really booming going down, like, you know, booming. But I stretched my hand out to balance. I was booming, 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 booming. And, you know, hit my head, hit my back, and my shoulder, and some point going down because, you know, there were stones sticking out. You know, it was really a bumpy ride going down. But God was with me and angel was me. I don't hit my foot when I hit the bottom of the pit. It was very cushioning because there were a lot of rotten things on the bottom.
In the meantime, the St. Catherine North Police are yet to recover Smart's grey 2011 Nissan AD wagon, which was stolen. In Trelawney, the 34-year-old butcher charged for attempting to kill his ex-girlfriend, Stefina Ralston, has again been denied bail. In applying for bail, Bailey's lawyer, Kadeen Coleman, argued that the father of 6 is not a flight risk and that he is prepared to abide by any conditions laid down by the court. But Parish Judge Paula Archer Hall said Bailey had a previous conviction and his community reported that he was very aggressive. Bailey was remanded until May 21. On April 15, Bailey, who had a tumultuous 16-month relationship with Ralston, attacked her with a sharp knife and inflicted multiple slashes and stab wounds. He allegedly had a long history of beating the woman. The Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston on Tuesday heard that the prosecution has found new evidence in the murder case involving popular Portland businessman Everton Beachy Stout MacDonald. He is accused of orchestrating the murder of his 2 wives years apart. The new development resulted in Justice Vivette Graham Allen further delaying her decision on bail for the 67-year-old accused. A May 13 hearing has now been scheduled for presentation of the new material before the judge rules on the bail application. Disclosure is to be made to the defense before the next court date. MacDonald, who appeared in court via Zoom, was remanded. In the meantime, Justice Graham Allen offered $500,000 bail to MacDonald's co-accused, Oscar Barnes. Barnes and MacDonald are charged in connection with a second wife, Tonya. On July 20, 2020, Tanya's partially burnt body was found with the throat slashed beside her burnt car along the Sherwood Forest Main Road. Another man, Denverlin Minot, said to be the contract killer, was also charged but pleaded guilty in the Home Circuit Court last September and was sentenced to 19 years in prison. In the cold case of the murder of the first wife, McDonald reportedly paid a police detective to kill her after their marriage crumbled and she left the matrimonial home. A taxi operator and a Clarendon College bus driver died a day apart this week following a four-vehicle collision in New Roads, Clarendon. The bus driver, identified as 56-year-old Keith Dunkley, died in hospital. The school bus, a taxi, a minibus, and a Ford truck were involved in the mishap shortly after 3 p.m. on Tuesday.
One person was thrown from the vehicle and another was trapped in a Toyota coaster bus. We used our jaws of life to remove the person from the coaster bus and transport them to the hospital.
Sergeant Robert Richard, sub-officer in charge of traffic in Clarendon, said the school bus and Ford truck were traveling in the same direction when the bus attempted to overtake. The bus tried to swing back to the left because of the oncoming vehicle, but collided head-on with the taxi before hitting the truck and then the minibus. The driver of the taxi, 37-year-old Renford Moen, died shortly after. Leslie Harrow, the outgoing Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, has stoutly denied reports of a tumultuous tenure at the agency. He has also rejected allegations of political interference from the local government ministry. The organization tasked with the management of emergencies and disasters is said to be reeling under the weight of political manipulation, aided and abetted by the board chair, Joy Douglas. ODPEM staffers are said to be shocked at Harrow's letter of denial. But Harrow has dismissed claims that he had a disharmonious working relationship with the local government minister Desmond McKenzie, among others. The head of the European Union, the EU delegation to Jamaica, has brushed aside notions that Europe has not pulled its weight in assisting the global COVID vaccine effort. According to Ambassador Miriam Van Steen, the EU has put a lot of investment in the development of the vaccine.
We're not sitting on vaccines. I mean, we are really trying to speed up to give vaccines to our own citizens. And you probably know that we've had a lot of problems with the delivery. We had contracts. Just to explain very clearly, when you want to support the development of a vaccine, you give an incentive to a pharmaceutical company. You tell them, here is so many million, please develop the vaccine. Once you find it, you deliver a certain number of vaccines and you sign the contract. Okay, we've had serious problems because we were actually waiting to receive a number of vaccines from a particular company and we didn't get them. And we didn't get even half of what we were supposed to get.
Ambassador Van Steen said more than 4 billion euros has been pumped into the vaccine initiative. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on our YouTube page, subscribe today and turn on your notifications. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, more from the St. Catherine taxi operator rescued 3 days after he was abducted and forced into a 55-foot hole.
Wednesday evening I was approached by a lady. She had a car that her daughter drive to transport her out with her things that she sell and take her home. She approached me and said, boy, the car break down, if I could assist her by taking her home. When she finished selling, I agreed to take her home. Taking her home about 9:15, 9:30 the latest, get her out of the car and on my way out of the lane, I was driving 0 miles per hour because the road was very narrow and sleeping police was ahead of me. Approaching a point of the road, there when I feel something touch me at my neck, when I look at it, it was a young man walking beside the car and said I should stop or else he will shoot. I was about to speed up when I look, I see one in front with a jump across the road and said if I don't stop, they will shoot me. So I decided to stop. When I stopped, they pull me out the car, take the phone out of the car, empty my pocket, and then they start to pull me across the road. pulling me across the road and say, if I make any sound whatsoever, they will shoot me and run leave me. So they pulled me up across the road, up into some bush, and then approaching a part of the hill, I see them pull a thing off a hole, like a manhole. See they pull a manhole cover across. And then I said I should put my foot in. After I put my foot in, they just let me go and I just keep going down. I keep going down like I'm dropping into a pit. Right now, one aim I have is only to go around Jamaica. Everywhere I go, I will tell everyone who I can tell that God live. God live. God live forever.